As of early 2026, Tesla is targeting a production cycle of one car every 9 to 10 seconds for its next-generation platform. Long-term, Elon Musk believes that could drop to 5 seconds. For context, a Model Y today takes around 35 to 40 seconds just to leave the assembly line. So no, this isn't Tesla building cars a bit faster. This is Tesla trying to end the assembly line altogether. And this matters more than most people realize. If you already own a Tesla, this affects how fast its value erodes. If you're waiting to buy one, this determines whether waiting is a smart move or a mistake. And if you're still driving a gas car, this decides when electric cars actually become cheaper, not just cleaner. Because a 9-second car only works if a completely new factory logic works. And if that logic fails, there's no patch, no backup, and no second attempt. Which is why a 9-second car shouldn't be possible at all, under the way cars have been built for the last 100 years. Why the assembly line itself is the real limit. Here's the part most people never notice. The assembly line was never designed to be extremely fast. It was designed to keep things moving. That idea comes straight from Ford Motor Company and General Motors, nearly a century ago. The solution wasn't speed, it was flow. That logic still defines most factories today. Even in modern plants, a vehicle can travel several kilometers inside a single factory before it's finished. And here's the problem. As the car moves, the space around it gets crowded. Seats, wiring, dashboards, robots, people, all trying to work on the same object at the same time. That congestion becomes the bottleneck. This is why even Tesla, with the most advanced factories in the world, hits a hard ceiling. A Model Y already takes around 10 hours to build end-to-end. That's faster than almost anyone else on the planet. But it's also the limit of a system designed around movement. You can't make a traffic jam disappear by telling the cars to drive faster. And here's the strange part. Tesla didn't try to make the assembly line faster. They tried to make it unnecessary. So the real question isn't, how do you optimize the assembly line? It's this. What happens if the car stops moving altogether? And I'm curious, do you think today's factories are already close to their physical limit? Or do you think the entire idea of the assembly line is simply outdated? Let me know in the comments. Unboxed, the Lego factory. So what happens if the car stops moving altogether? That's exactly what Tesla did. For more than a century, building a car has been like building a ship inside a bottle. You start with an empty shell, then squeeze everything inside. But it's slow, crowded, and fundamentally hard to speed up. Unboxed Manufacturing flips that logic completely. Instead of treating the car as the center of production, Tesla breaks it apart first. The vehicle is divided into 6 large modules. Each of these modules is built at the same time, not in sequence. Flat, open, easy to access. Seats are installed onto the floor before there's even a body. Wiring is laid out when nothing is in the way. Nothing has to squeeze inside anything else. This is why Unboxed feels less like car manufacturing and more like playing with Lego. You build the pieces separately, then snap them together at the very end. And here's the key shift most people miss. The car is no longer the center of production. It's the final result. That single change is what makes extreme cycle times physically possible. Because the car doesn't travel through the factory anymore. It appears. Now at this point, it all sounds almost too simple. Which raises the obvious question. If this makes so much sense, why hasn't everyone done it already? Here's where most explanations of Unboxed get it wrong. People think this is about speed, or robots, or clever automation. It's not. Unboxed works because Tesla quietly removed entire categories of work, including one part of car manufacturing almost nobody ever thinks about: painting. The paint secret: how Tesla deletes 30% of a factory. Painting is the part of car manufacturing nobody gets excited about. In a traditional plant, Ford, GM, Toyota, even BYD, the paint shop is massive. It can take up nearly a third of the entire factory footprint. Not because painting is slow, but because it's fragile. So the car has to travel through huge sealed chambers and move carefully from stage to stage. This is why paint shops don't scale well, and it's why factories get so big. Here's the part almost nobody realizes. Unboxed manufacturing doesn't just change assembly, it changes when painting happens. Instead of painting a finished car, Tesla paints individual panels before the car even exists. Flat panels, easy to handle, easy to inspect. This is how airplanes are built. It's how smartphones are made. But it's almost unheard of in mass-market car manufacturing. And once you do this, something strange happens. You no longer need a gigantic paint shop at the center of the factory. You no longer need long queues of cars waiting to be painted. You no longer need to move a half-finished vehicle through a delicate, slow process. An entire category of work disappears. This is why Unboxed isn't just faster. It's smaller. When you remove the paint shop, you remove roughly 30% of the factory footprint. You simplify airflow systems. You reduce internal logistics. And you unlock layouts that were impossible before. This also explains something people have been confused about. Why Tesla can talk about unusual colors, even unfinished or stainless surfaces, at scale. Because once painting happens at the panel level, design stops being constrained by the factory. The factory adapts to the product, not the other way around. And here's the uncomfortable implication. If painting no longer sits at the center of production, then the factory itself stops needing to be centralized. You don't need one massive building. You can build smaller, denser factories, closer to customers, in places where land is expensive. That's how you get micro-factories that still produce hundreds of thousands of cars a year. And that's the part that makes competitors nervous. Because this isn't an efficiency tweak, it's a structural deletion. Tesla didn't speed up painting. It designed a factory where painting no longer controls everything else. Which brings us to the real consequence. If you can remove the paint shop, you can shrink the factory. You can change where cars are built. And once that happens, cost advantages based on cheap land, cheap labor, and massive centralized plants start to disappear. So the question is no longer whether Unboxed is clever. The question is, who benefits when factories get smaller, and who doesn't? And that's where the pressure on companies like BYD really begins. Why BYD should be nervous. For years, BYD has been unbeatable at one thing: cost control through scale. It builds almost everything in-house, it runs enormous factories, and it relies on a massive, highly coordinated workforce. That strategy works brilliantly. But it only works as long as factories need to be big, crowded, and labor-intensive. Unboxed manufacturing attacks that assumption directly. BYD's advantage comes from optimizing a system where thousands of workers touch the product, modules move long distances inside the plant, and assembly labor scales with output. That creates what looks like a strength, but it's also a trap. Because labor scales linearly. As wages rise, costs rise. As volume increases, coordination gets harder. And as factories grow, internal logistics quietly eat away at margins. Unboxed flips that equation. By breaking the car into large modules and assembling them in parallel, Tesla removes entire assembly steps, long internal transport routes, and thousands of human and robotic handoffs. According to manufacturing analyses cited by Nikkei Asia, Tesla's internal target for Model 2 assembly cost is around $1,000 per car. Comparable BYD vehicles today still sit closer to $1,800 to over $2,000 per car. Not because BYD is inefficient, but because it's still playing inside the old factory rules. This is the part that matters. BYD gets cheaper by adding scale. Tesla is trying to get cheaper by removing work. Those are completely different cost curves. Unboxed also destroys another hidden advantage: internal logistics. In a traditional plant, parts and subassemblies can travel kilometers before becoming a finished vehicle. Every meter costs money: conveyors, forklifts, buffers, scheduling delays. By keeping modules stationary and letting people and robots come to them, Tesla can cut internal logistics costs by more than half. That's why Unboxed enables something BYD struggles with. Small factories with big output. Factories that can be built on expensive land, closer to customers, outside traditional low-cost manufacturing regions, and still compete on price. BYD's model assumes cheap land and cheap labor remain available. Unboxed assumes they won't. And here's why that's unsettling. BYD can't easily copy this without rewriting its entire factory logic. It can't half-adopt Unboxed. It can't trial it on the side. Because once you commit to parallel, modular production, everything else, layout, tooling, logistics, labor, has to change with it. This is why Unboxed isn't a feature advantage. It's a margin weapon. If it works, Tesla doesn't just catch up on cost. It changes where the cost floor sits for the entire industry. And that's the real threat to BYD. Not that Tesla builds cars faster, but that it builds factories that make cheap labor less relevant. Which leads to the next, unavoidable tension. If Unboxed is this powerful and this dangerous, why would Tesla risk its cheapest car on a factory design it cannot afford to get wrong? That's where the story gets even more uncomfortable. You've seen why Tesla's 9-second car could end the assembly line. But we still haven't answered the question that actually matters. If Unboxed is this powerful, why hasn't Tesla launched its cheapest car yet? Part 2 drops this time tomorrow, here on AutoGearshift. That's where we break down the exact factory conditions Tesla is waiting for, and what that means for when prices really change, and whether waiting to buy a Tesla makes sense for you. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe to AutoGearshift, turn on notifications, because Part 2 decides when this becomes real for you, not for headlines. See you tomorrow.